Never too hot to make some corn on the grill, though. So grilled corn, it's a perfect summer side dish. So today we're going to show you 3 different ways to serve it with personal chef Bill Collins from chefbill.com. Chef Bill, corn,
Yes.
It's one of your favorite foods in the whole world, and it's also one of mine as well.
Actually, it's not one of my favorite. It is my favorite.
It is?
There's
Wow.
nothing. I've since I was a little boy, I have loved it. I don't mean to correct you, but everything else is a second.
Please do it. So this is a special season
yes,
for you.
It is. The season started early this year, and the corn's a little shorter, but that's fine. It's going to grow in length. The corn is great tasting. It's so sweet. It's a good corn year.
It's like candy, you know?
It is. It is.
I could just eat one cob after the other, but it has to be local, fresh.
And we're
so
so
good.
lucky here in the Valley. We've got so many great farm stands, so many places. All the supermarkets have the local. It's just terrific.
So now cooking it, there's many different methods. We're talking about grilling
Yes.
more specifically today. So if you do want to grill, there's many different ways to do it.
Yes, and one thing you'll note about the corn here is it doesn't have the usual grill marks on it because there are a couple, probably 50 different ways to cook to grill corn. And one of them is you keep the husks on the corn, but first you peel it off. Keep it attached, and you take the silks off because those can really burn. So then you take all the silks off, put the husks back on, just roll them back up, soak them in water for about 10 minutes or so, and then throw them on the grill. Because it's wrapped and protected, there might be a little browning, not necessarily that much, but you're going to get the nice flavor from it. It takes about 20-25 minutes.
So be patient.
You be patient. Just rotate it on the grill. Another way to do it is get a nice little smear, a little coating of olive oil or canola oil on the ears of corn after you've taken the husks off, and put it directly over a medium heat on the fire. Keep an eye on it because it can burn quickly, otherwise you end up with popcorn. Well, not technically, but
That's still good, but yeah.
and then just kind of keep eye on it and rotate it around. That's how you get the really the roasted looking corn.
Right.
And then of course inside the kitchen, especially if it's a rainy day, or after 3 o'clock day where there might be rain, you can also either put in a big pot of boiling water, which I don't tend to do. I put in just an inch or 2 of water in the pan and I steam it. 9 minutes, done. So you have all these different options to get the great corn on the cob.
No matter how you cook it, it's going to be delicious, and not just on the cob, but also served in many different ways. We're going to cover 3 different ways that you can actually make recipes with this corn. The first one, we're doing a corn salsa.
Absolutely. I call it Mexican corn salsa. Technically, salsa means sauce. But we don't always think of it that way. But also, more to the point, a lot of people think of salsa as being hot or spicy. I like to think of salsa as fresh, and especially with tomatoes coming up soon, a great tomato salsa. But to go with the corn salsa now, the corn is fresh, and we're going to have it for probably another couple months or so. This is the time to make a corn salsa. So what I've done is I've already chopped up some tomato here, and I've got all kinds of corn here. I'm just going to put some in.
What did you do with the corn? Does it have anything on it, or is it just?
No, I just took it right off the cob, and I'll be showing you how to do that a little later on. But that's all it is, just the corn, not even any salt or pepper.
Did you seed the tomato?
Now, no, I didn't, but there are a few things you can do with tomatoes. There are 3 ways of approaching it. You can just chop it up, don't even have to take the skin off. And what I often do is I put the tomato in a colander or in a strainer, and just about 20 minutes, half an hour or so, and let the extra liquid drip out. The reason being is I'm going to be adding some more liquid.
Right.
Now, I'm not going to say it's going to be drowning and swimming, but if you can take some of the water out, why not?
Right.
So you can either do that. If you don't do it, that's fine. It's still going to be good. Or you can seed the tomato as well, and we can show that later on. But so at this point, just throw in some red onion. I've got a little bit of garlic, and I've got some scallions. I always like the look of scallions.
Yes, the colors.
And one thing that is, to me, is essential for a salsa is lime zest. Not the lime juice. I like the zest. The reason I don't like the juice as much is it gives it too much of an acid bite. Whereas if you just go with the zest, you're going to get a nice, fresh lime flavor. And then, if you want more of a little bit of a bite, which I'm going to give it, I'm going to put in just a splash of balsamic vinegar, not much, and just a little bit of Tabasco, a hint of olive oil, really not much at all.
Oh, really? Not much at all?
Not much at all. And just some salt, and mix it up.
And you did put some brown sugar in that earlier over the tomato, right?
Exactly. Just a little bit of sweetness, really just a sprinkle. And so now you can either let this sit for a little bit, or if you don't want to, we can take a taste to see.
I don't want to let it sit.
Not at all. Let's see if we need to add salt or pepper.
I know. It might take a couple bites to really figure it out, though. I have to be honest.
So So, so now, don't damage yourself. Yeah.
That's so good.
So now it's ready to be served, and so that way, you put it in a big bowl or even just a little bit, and
That's
you've
so
got
yummy.
And you've got that, and you've got, oh look, we happen to have some tortilla chips, and you're ready.
What a great side for a party, a little snack. It's fresh, it's healthy.
And you saw how
it's
quick,
so good.
how quick it was to put together. If I took the time during this segment to cut the corn and the tomatoes, it would add 2 minutes. So it's a very fast thing to do.
Oh my goodness. Well, this is just one of 3 recipes that we're going to show you how to make with corn that is so good, Chef Bill. Can't wait for more.
Yep, more to come.
Thank you. We are back with personal chef Bill Collins from chefbill.com, and we're having a corny time in the kitchen.
We are.
We're talking all about corn.
Yep.
Now I'm still talking about that salsa. It was so good.
It was a pretty good salsa.
It was really, really yummy.
Yep.
And now we're talking about a salad, of course, with corn.
Yes.
But not all salads have lettuce.
No, because a salad doesn't have to be a lettuce-based thing with tomato and cucumber and a lot of salad dressing on it. If you have fresh or even cooked vegetables in there, some kind of a dressing maybe to bind it all together, it can be so fresh, local, and flavorful. It does not have to have anything to do with lettuce, and it's still a great salad.
And it actually is good even the 3rd, 4th day, where usually lettuce will wilt or a salad will wilt.
Exactly, and that's why I recommend that if you make this, just as when you make corn on the cob, cook up extra so you can have these kinds of dishes afterwards instead of just eating it on the cob. Same thing, make extra of the salad. You can bring it for lunch the next day, especially with hot temperatures. It's a great light lunch, light dinner, and with the beans and the black beans, there's protein in there as well. You just don't have to think about putting together the whole huge meal.
I love that. Great. Don't even have to turn on the stove. Okay, so we're going to talk about assembling the salad now. So you have how many cans of black beans?
I've got 1 can of black beans. You can go with canned. I happen to have a ton of canned black beans kicking around. You can cook them up from scratch. They take less than 2 hours just to boil up, and that's easy. You can do that a day or 2 ahead even. And so I've got the corn, and again, this is just cooked up, taken off the cob.
Right, and you grilled this?
Yep, this was grilled, and I did it in the husks, and so that's why it doesn't have the grill marks on it.
Right.
I've got some jalapeno pepper here. Now, often when I'm on Mass Appeal and I'm working with meat or fresh meat or fresh chicken, I put rubber gloves on. I do the same with jalapeno peppers. I recommend that because it's so easy when you get with the seeds in the inside. If you just touch your face or whatever, next thing you know, your face is on fire, or it feels like it.
It's true. Don't touch your eye.
No,
oh my goodness.
That's the worst. So that's why I did those gloves and I minced that up. I have some scallions, a little left over from the salsa, so I'm going to put that in. Red pepper, nothing quite like red pepper. So now we've got all kinds of color going on in there, and I'm going to go again just a hint of balsamic. A hint of olive oil. Now this has some similarities but big differences with the salsa. For instance, I'm going to be putting some lime zest in, as I said, but when I talked a moment ago about a salad having a dressing, this is kind of a variation of having a vinaigrette in there, because a vinaigrette is 2 parts oil and 1 part vinegar. But if it's not vinegar, it's some other kind of acid. In this case, I put a little vinegar in, and I'm going to put some lime juice in. So rather than mix up the dressing on the side, we're just going to put a little bit of the oil and the lime juice and the balsamic, all mix it in together.
Oh, there isn't a better dressing than that. Just pure fruit.
Exactly, and it's just so crazy fresh. And you look at that, and look how colorful that is. And again, if you want more, throw in more beans, throw in more corn.
Do you add any sugar to this?
I did not add any sugar to this. Now, if you want a little bit sweet, you can add a little bit of sugar. You can add some honey. You can sprinkle over a little, or I should say, a little agave, which is a liquid similar to honey, and that would work as well with it. So now, before we actually pour out the salad on a plate, I think we need to taste it.
We have to. Of course we have to. It's hard to believe this could be a whole meal. It really can. Yeah. It's got the vegetables, the protein, and what a great way to enjoy a meal. Well,
so you have a minor bite with the jalapeno, not too much of it, and also I would recommend if you're chilling it or the next day, check the salt. Make sure because sometimes it absorbs a little bit, so you might want just a little bit more on there, but that's always a good way to go.
I could eat that whole bowl.
Yeah, and that's
easily.
lunch.
That is so yummy.
Yep.
Make this. Oh my goodness, make this with fresh local corn. That is so delicious.
Thank you. Yeah, it's really good. And
wow.
the black beans give you the protein. It's dinner.
It's dinner. Oh, yeah. Or lunch. My goodness, I'll have it for breakfast.
There you go.
Even for dessert. I love it. Thanks so much. And we're going to make corn chowder later on in the show. So we can have it now, or we can save that recipe for comfort food later on in the season.
Absolutely.
Thank you so much. We'll be with you in just a bit. Still to We're back in the kitchen with personal chef Bill Collins from chefbill.com. This is the final recipe of the 3 corn recipes.
It sure is, and it's not only is this a great summertime dish, if it's a little cooler weather, you can have this all year round. So this is one of my favorites for the whole year.
You can have it all year round because you could freeze your fresh corn.
You can freeze every aspect of this. You can cook it and leave it on the cob, but I don't recommend that. You can take it off the cob and then freeze the corn and freeze the cob. You can make a corn stock, which I'll get to in a moment, and freeze the stock. So you can really do it any way you want. So it's really very versatile.
And look forward to having it in the fall and winter. Now,
yes.
How would you store it when you do freeze it if you took the kernels off the cob?
That's exactly what I do. Is I take the kernels off the cob, and let me show you how I do that. Is just stand it up, take a knife, and there are actually 2 steps to it. One is taking the actual kernels off and just kind of cut down like that, and it comes off very easily like that. But there's a second step as well, and this is the part that really gives you so much flavor. You can use either side of the knife, even the back of the knife, and just scrape down what you've already taken off. And you'll see the big difference is, look how there's a lot on there, and now where I've scraped, you can see just where the kernels have come out.
I would never think to do that.
And the great thing about this is, especially as the corn season goes on and it gets more mature, there's more liquid that comes out of here. It's a little bit drier right now because the corn's still a bit young, and that is just pure flavor. So you can freeze the kernels, and you can see they're together in pieces. They'll just break apart with a knife or by hand. You can even just kind of roll them around your hand. You can freeze this part together separately, or you can freeze the corn stalk. And what I mean by corn stalk is it's a classic infusion. Like a lot of people think of adding basil to olive oil or something like that and get a basil flavored olive oil. Well, here I've taken a chicken stock, and you can use vegetable stock, and I've simmered it in with corn cobs. I've taken all the corn off, and I just simmered it along, and what you end up with is a stock that tastes like corn.
Oh, wow. So easy to do.
It is, and the big difference is, that's why I say whether you have a corn chowder with cream or milk or a corn soup, the big difference is those are just soups that have corn in them. These are corn with every bite in it because of the flavor of the cobs within the stock. So you can freeze them in any one of these, and if you want to make your stock later, just freeze the cobs after the kernels have been taken off.
Wow. Gosh, I can't wait to get all my corn.
Exactly.
Okay, so then we've made the stock, corn chowder. What's the next step?
Corn chowder, and this is how I look at it. A lot of people put milk or cream in the chowders. My take on a chowder is, yes, I do often like milk or cream in it. I didn't put any milk or cream in this, so it's a lighter chowder, but also I like to think of it, it's got so much stuff in it. And what I mean by stuff is when you look at everything that's in there, I've also put shredded chicken in, so it can be the entire meal. I've got carrots, potatoes, onions, celery, lots of corn, and so there's just an oomph in every bite. So whether it's completely vegetarian without the chicken, put in the chicken, it's an oomphy meal.
And you actually are cutting the calories and the fat by not putting in all the cream and the heavier stuff.
It's an incredibly healthy meal too. And so as we're in the midst of bathing suit season, we have to maintain what we're doing here.
Always.
So, but the thing is that it's very healthy. There's no sugars added, and if you're concerned about carbs, don't put in the potatoes.
Right.
So you could really just make this whatever you want it to be.
Put in or leave out whatever you want, but bottom line, if you get that fresh corn in there, it's going to be delicious, especially with that corn stock.
Exactly. And so what you want to do is with the chowder itself is once you've made your stock, once it's simmered for a while, or if you take it out and you make it later on in the season, in the year, is bring the stock to a simmer. Add your other vegetables except the potatoes. Those go quickly. Carrots, onions, celery. That'll take 15 minutes of simmering. They'll cook through. Add the potatoes for 10 more minutes. Put the sliced chicken back in, shredded chicken back in, and you're done. So it's just the easiest thing in the world. And once you have the stock, dinner, it's going to be ready in less than half an hour.
And you don't even have to have it hot. If you wanted to put it in the fridge and have it as a cool soup, I bet that would still be good, right?
You know, actually, when I made this earlier, I was kind of having a little for breakfast out of the fridge this morning. So it's great. It's so filling that...
It doesn't have to be hot on a hot day. It could be cold on a hot day and it'd still be great.
And usually when you think of a cold soup, you think of melon or berries, but this is a great cold soup. That's such a great idea.
Everything's cooked. Yeah, why not? All right, so recap, Bill, what do we got here?
We've got the corn chowder, the corn soup right there. Earlier we made the corn salsa, and that's got the onions and tomatoes and the fresh corn in there. So great as an appetizer with tortilla chips. And the black bean and corn salad. We've got the black beans, corns, jalapeno peppers, red peppers, put in some scallions. So look how colorful that is. A little bit of lime juice, lime zest, and actually lime zest also gives a big oomph to the salsa.
It sure does. And I have to say, I know everyone at home can't try it. I haven't tried the chowder yet. I know it's fantastic. I can only say, but I know that these two, the salsa and the salad, amazing. I'm actually going to go get everything after work today.
Oh, there you go.
Thank you
it's
so
so fast.
much.
I'm glad you're doing it. Thank you,
Thank you.
Ashley.
And I know it's your favorite food in the world.
Corn is, absolutely. Corn on the cob.
Glad you shared those recipes.
Thank you.
And all these recipes will be on our website later today.